It started with a conversation I could never have imagined having. One night, as I was lying in bed, drifting off to sleep, I felt a strange sensation, a pull, almost as if I were being drawn into another reality. When I opened my eyes, I wasn't in my room anymore. Instead, I was standing in a sleek, futuristic space, all smooth, glowing surfaces and soft ambient lighting. And there, standing before me, was a man who looked human, but somehow different. His eyes had a depth to them, a wisdom that seemed to stretch across centuries. Before I could say anything, he smiled and spoke, his voice calm and resonant. "You're not dreaming, and yes, I am from the year 2100, he began, as if reading my thoughts. "My name is Orion, and I've been sent here to share with you a glimpse of the future, a future where humanity has conquered immortality, but not without a price." It all started with a billionaire. His name was Augustus Silas. In the late 21st century, Silas developed a groundbreaking nanotechnology that could extract human memories, consciousness, and essence, and transfer them into other bodies, whether human or robotic. The technology was revolutionary, but it also created a world where the rich could live forever by purchasing new bodies as their old ones withered. Orion's expression darkened. Indeed, it's created a stark division in society. On one hand, we have the immortals, billionaires, millionaires, and the elite, who can continue their lives indefinitely, moving from one body to another, living out their desires without fear of death. On the other hand, we have the masses, those who can't afford this luxury, who must watch as the rich grow ever more powerful and disconnected from the reality of human existence. Orion sighed. For those who sell their bodies, the process is irreversible. Their consciousness is either stored in a digital format, lost in the vast networks of the digital afterlife, or simply extinguished depending on the buyer's preference. It's a brutal, transactional process, but for many it's the only way to ensure the survival of their loved ones in an increasingly unequal world. "That's a complicated issue," Orion replied. "Those who transfer their consciousness into robotic bodies face a different kind of existence. They lose the ability to feel, to taste, to experience the world as humans do. They become more like machines, and over time many lose their sense of self, their memories fading as they become integrated with the technology. But in exchange, they gain wealth, enough to provide for their families for generations." Orion's gaze softened. "It's not all dark. There are those who fight against this system, who believe in a world where technology serves all of humanity, not just the elite. There are movements, underground networks, working to dismantle the structures that have allowed this division to take root. They seek to create a future where everyone can benefit from technological advancements, where immortality isn't reserved for the few, but is a right for all." "Why are you telling me all this?" I asked. "What can I do?" Orion smiled, a knowing look in his eyes. "Awareness is the first step. The choices we make today, the values we hold dear, shape the future in ways we can't always foresee. I'm here to show you the path, to help you understand that every action, no matter how small, has the power to influence the course of history." When I woke up the next morning, the memory of Orion and our conversation felt like it was etched into my soul. The future he described haunted me, a world where immortality was no longer a gift of the gods but a privilege of the wealthy, and where the price of living forever was paid in the currency of human lives. I couldn't shake the questions that lingered. What would it mean to live in a world where death was optional, where the rich could buy their way out of mortality, leaving the rest of humanity to wither and die? And what would become of our humanity when our bodies could be bought and sold like commodities? I found myself thinking more and more about the moral implications of this future. What happens to a society where the natural cycle of life and death is disrupted? How do we define ourselves when our consciousness can be transferred from one body to another, or when it can be uploaded into a machine that never ages, never tires, never dies? Orion had spoken of the underground movements, the rebels who fought against the system. They were a beacon of hope in a bleak future. But they were also a reminder that change comes at a price. Would these movements succeed in creating a more just and equitable society? Or would they be crushed under the weight of a system designed to maintain the status quo? The more I thought about it, the more I realized that this wasn't just a story about the future, it was a reflection of the world we live in today. The gap between the rich and the poor is already vast, and it's growing wider with every passing year. Technology, while a force for good, also has the potential to create new forms of inequality to widen the divide between those who have and those who have not. I began to see the parallels between Orion's world and our own. The decisions we make today about technology, about wealth distribution, about social justice, these are the decisions that will shape the future. Will we create a world where everyone has access to the benefits of technology, where immortality, if it becomes possible, is a right rather than a privilege? Or will we allow the wealthy to monopolize the future, to live forever while the rest of us are left behind? As these thoughts swirled in my mind, I felt a sense of urgency. Orion's visit wasn't just a glimpse into a possible future, it was a call to action. The future is not something that happens to us, it's something we create, one decision at a time. But there was also a darker side to this realization. What if the future Orion described is inevitable? What if, despite our best efforts, the rich will always find a way to maintain their power, to live forever while the rest of us are left to struggle and die? Orion had said that every decision matters, that the future is shaped by the hands of those who dare to dream of something better. But as I looked around at the world today, I couldn't help but wonder, do we have the courage to make the right choices? Do we have the strength to resist the temptations of power and wealth, to create a future that is just and equitable for all? And if we don't, what will become of us? Will we become like the poor in Orion's world, selling our bodies to the highest bidder, or uploading our consciousness into machines in exchange for a few more years of life? Will we lose our humanity in the pursuit of immortality, or will we find a way to live forever without sacrificing what makes us human? Shaped by the choices we make today. As I woke up from that dream, I realized that the future Orion described might not be set in stone, but the path we take to get there is still unwritten. It's up to us to decide what kind of world we want to live in, whether we succumb to the allure of immortality at any cost, or whether we strive for a future where every life is valued equally. And as I lay there, reflecting on the conversation with Orion, I knew that the decisions we make now will echo through time, shaping the lives of generations to come. The future is ours to create, but it's also ours to lose. The question is, what kind of world will we choose?